Welcome back into the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. My name is Sam Hind, and today I am really excited to talk to you all about Facebook groups. Now, most of the people that we work with these days are in direct selling industry. We specialize in direct selling, and so therefore we spend 99.9% of our time working with business owners in party plan and network marketing. We love this industry because it's an incredible opportunity to grow a business that gives you flexibility whilst also building meaningful relationships. Now, the thing about social media is that it's a little bit different to any other form of marketing. Social media is all about building relationships and getting to know your fans and followers or your customers. But just like it says, it's social media. And this is the bit so many people miss. When it comes to marketing their businesses using social media, they treat it like any other form of marketing. Essentially, they fall into the trap of broadcasting. And this is really dangerous territory. When we broadcast to people, we're not involving them in the conversation. We're not building a two-way relationship. We're treating it as a one-way transaction. And this is where groups can be so incredibly helpful to give us an extra tool to build those meaningful relationships. So today I want to unpack with you some of the ways that you can use Facebook groups, but I also want to talk about some of the changes that have happened in recent times when it comes to Facebook groups, because Facebook has made some adjustments. The other thing I want to talk to you about is a couple of best practices that are hopefully going to help you in this space when it comes to building your business using a group. So let's start by talking about what a group actually is in comparison to your business page or your personal profile. Now, when you use Facebook and you first set it up, you are given the option of setting up a personal profile. A personal profile is where you connect with people that you already know or that you had some form of an interaction with on a personal level. When you set up your personal profile on Facebook, it's a security requirement. You must have a personal profile before you set up any business pages or groups. Your personal profile is who you are. And the people you connect with, you request using a friend request to connect with those people. They accept that friend request, and then you can see each other's information. This means that you are sharing information on a personal level. You aren't broadcasting, you aren't promoting, you are simply sharing your life, your everyday with family, friends, and connections. A business page is what we can set up once we've set our personal profile up. The business page is where we do the business transactions. It's where we promote what we do. It's where we can openly advertise and we can let people know about our business, whatever that may be. And then we have a group. So a group is a separate type of page altogether where Facebook has set this up to create community. So a group is essentially a community page. When you're using a personal profile and a business page, you are the only person who is posting to the main feed. So if someone goes to that page and they have a little look around, everything that you've posted on that feed has come from you, the administrator of that page. So on your personal profile, let's say we're talking about Sam Hind, everything you see on Sam Hind's personal profile comes from Sam, unless Sam has allowed people, friends and family, her existing connections to share things to her feed, in which case you may see some of the stuff from my family or friends appearing on my personal profile feed if I've allowed that through my security settings. When it comes to a business page, everything you see on a business page comes from the administrator of that page. But when we go into a group, most groups have got a setting automatically set up in there where everyone can post equally. This means everyone who's the member of the group can be contributing. It also means that the person that set the group up in the long term doesn't necessarily need to be keeping the activity going because it will take on a life of its own. And this is where the danger often comes in. Groups are a fantastic way to create a community amongst people that have got common ground or special interest. The problem is that when we set a group up, often the assumption is if I set the group up and I invite some people in, they're going to go off and post and I don't need to do a whole lot in there. It will be easier than running a business page. And to a degree, in the long term, that may be true. But realistically, if you're going to use a group effectively, it needs to take as much time and effort as a standard Facebook business page would, if not more. So what I want to talk to you about today is the value of a group, how it can help to grow your direct selling business, but also the types of groups that you might set up and a few little best practices in there as well. So let's start off with the 3 key types of a Facebook group that you may want to set up in your business that can help you with growth. The very first one I want to talk to you about is team. So one of the types of groups that you can create is a group designed to motivate and educate your team or your downline. Now, this is a really valuable thing to do, and many direct selling companies have already got something similar set up like this for consultants. But there's also some value in creating one that is specifically for your team. This allows you to have an ability to create community, motivate, create culture. Culture is a really big thing in a team as well, to get everybody interacting and staying on track. It allows you to pop posts in there and bits and pieces that are going to help keep people educated where they need information, and you will have control over it versus the company when they're running their own group. They're obviously going to be putting things in that are relevant to absolutely everyone. So messages can sometimes get a bit lost in really big groups. Now, a little secret here is you can have as many groups as you want. So unlike a personal profile where you only get allocated one per person, when you set up a group, you can create dozens of groups if you want to. So there's a little bit of fun can be had there. You can do some really specific stuff. Just remember though, every group you set up requires more work. So don't get too ahead of yourself, because otherwise you'll end up creating a rod for your own back. So the first type of group you might want to think about setting up is a group for your team. This is a place where you can motivate, inspire, and educate your team and your downline. The next type of group you may want to consider setting up, which I think is a really valuable type of group, is a customer or VIP group. This is a place you can put people when you come in contact with them from a business perspective. So if you do a party or an event, if you meet somebody for the very first time or you connected with them, if someone buys from you through any which way, you can then invite them to come into your group and you can give them some special treatment in there they don't get anywhere else. So a VIP or customer group is a great way of building those relationships. Now, I want to remind you of something that I do talk about a lot when it comes to social media and growing your business. It's important that we think about the end, we think with the end in mind. So what we want to be considering as much as we can is how can we look at the long term? It's really easy to get caught up on the short term, that sale I can get right now. But that's damaging to the growth of your business, because we're not thinking about how can we build raving fans and followers? How can we create customers that are not only going to be buying from us in 5 or 10 years time, they're also going to be raving about us to their family and friends. It doesn't matter whether you're with Thermomix or whether you are with doTERRA or Arbonne. You guys, no matter what company you're with, are going to want to be creating customers that buy from you again and again and again down the track. So you've got your customer VIP group, you've got your team. The last type of group I want to talk to you about is another really amazing one, but this one is one that can help you find new customers. This is one of my favorite types of groups because this, if used correctly, can be really, really powerful. Now, this type of group is what I like to call a special interest group. This is where you create a group of like-minded individuals that have got a common value or a common interest. Now, the key to this one is getting to know what makes your customer tick in advance. So you would have heard us talking a lot about your avatar or your ideal target customer. This is your one key person that you love to work with, that if you could replicate that perfect customer over and over again, if you could clone them, that you would. And so once you've identified who that customer is, that perfect person you'd love to work with every single day, a really good question to ask yourself is, what are their common values or what are their common interests? Or it could be, what are their common problems? So once you've identified something about them that is a common problem or a common interest, you can then set up a Facebook group that is based around that common interest. The beauty of this is that once you've done this exercise correctly, you know that it's going to attract like a magnet to you, the people that you most want to work with. And if you set the group up correctly and you nurture it and take care of it, you can create yourself an amazing little location where it's essentially spawning your perfect customers because people are gravitating towards that group. So for you, if you're in the health industry, this could be something health related. If you are with Thermomix, this could be cooking related. If you are in a beauty business, it could be cosmetics related, or it could be a how-to group. And it could be something completely left of center as well. If you recognize that your ideal target customer is someone who loves dogs, then you could create yourself a special interest group that's based around dogs, knowing that this is typically your ideal customer. Now, of course, you want to get pretty specific because you don't want to be attracting in and wasting your time on people that are not going to work for you. And this can take a little bit of finessing. So don't put too much pressure on yourself in the early stages, but think to yourself about what sort of a special interest group could I create that's likely to attract lots of my perfect customers. Now, once you've set that group up, there's a few things to keep in mind. Facebook has made some changes in recent times around groups. But I do want to make a little prediction here because I'm a big fan of using groups. Facebook is doing a lot of push right now towards community and healthy conversation. Facebook really wants to encourage people to converse with each other on a more personal level, just like they would if they were in a coffee shop or catching up as friends. Facebook wants to take away that whole transaction mentality on Facebook and turn it into something where people can connect and build meaningful relationships. And it knows that groups is a really great place that they can help this to happen. So they are encouraging the use of groups. And as part of that, they've introduced some amazing little changes, including group insights. So we are now able to see some insights within our groups. And the reason that that's been put there is to help us learn what to deliver our people, who's interacting, and how engaged people are. It's designed to help you be better at doing groups. So if you have got a group currently, go in and check out your insights and have a little bit of a look at what the demographic is like of the people that are in there. How engaged are they? How interactive are they? Get in and have a bit of a look at your group growth. Tongue twister there, your group growth. So get in and have a little bit of a look and check all of that out, because I think you'll find that there's lots of really great stuff to uncover and many wonderful things to learn to help you be better at serving your perfect person. Now, another thing to be aware of with a group is that there are several ways we can set them up. A group can be set up as public, which means that it can not only be seen, it can be located or found by anybody out there, but the content within the group is also accessible by anyone, whether they're a member of the group or not. The next type of a group is called private and visible. Now, this terminology has changed in recent times. So private and visible means anyone can find the group, but they can't see what's in it until they've been accepted as a member. This is the most common type of group you'll find out there. The last type of group, which used to be called secret, has been changed. This one is now called private and hidden. This means that you could search for the group and you will not be able to locate it. Only the people that are members of the group can see that the group even exists. So the purpose of this type of a group is to make it really exclusive and by invitation only. So the only way you can invite someone in is by already being friends with them and inviting them into the group, or by sending them an email request. So private and hidden is the old secret, which means no one can find the group outside of the existing members within that group. So the most common type of group that you're most likely to want to set up is one that's private and visible. The reason being is it can create some curiosity and intrigue, but it requires people to apply for access before they are granted the ability to see what's in there. And this brings me to another change. Now, this one's not as recent, but it's something to be aware of. And that is that you can set up a questionnaire. And you'll notice this with most groups when you try to join them these days. There's a little questionnaire that takes place so that people have got to answer specific questions before they can join. You can also require people to provide you with their email address, which is a really great way of gathering email database as well. So once you've asked those questions and you've then accepted them into the group, they'll be a member. Now, you can also change the settings slightly to do pre-authorized members, which means if you are running off an email database, let's say you've got some team and you want to create a Facebook group for that team, you can actually load those emails in and say, when these people request to be a member of the group, I want them to be automatically approved. This can take some of the work out of it for you if you do have a big list of people that you want to invite in. So that's another thing to be aware of. Now, I also want to speak to you about group types because this has been the biggest change in the last 12 months. Now, the change with group types happened because there were so many different types of groups that were happening, and some of them were not really relevant anymore. So Facebook decided, as it does, we're going to make a change. And they decided to remove all of the pre-existing group types, default everybody back to general, and then they've set up some new group types that were much more specific. So if your group type, if you had a group set up and it happened to be a family, neighbors, parents, project, school or class, study group, support team, travel or custom, all of those group types are now defaulted back to general. So you may want to go back in and reset your group type if you don't want it to go under the general heading. Now, they then replace those group types with 6, I think it is now, group types that are currently sitting there. And in Australia, they're just in the process of rolling out the next one, which I'm going to tell you a bit about, because in this industry, in direct selling, this one's going to be a really big one. So the group types sitting there at the moment are general, buy and sell, gaming, social learning, jobs, and work. So this is for workplaces. Now, each of those groups have got very specific tools within them. So depending on what group type it is, they actually provide you with some really cool things you can use. So with the jobs, of course, it's all about putting in job applications. So you can advertise a job and accept job applications within those groups. You've also got social learning, which is what we use for our business a lot. And the thing I love about that group type is that they're units, which allows you to create units that people have to complete. So little learnings, it could be documents loaded up that they have to read. It could be questionnaires, or it could be video they have to watch. And then those units can be made compulsory or an option. So that's a really good little feature in there as well, particularly if you're setting up a group that is around learning of any description. It doesn't have to be, when they say social learning, it means learning on social media, not learning about social media, just to clarify that. So social learning can be about anything. Really clever little group type. But the one I want to talk to you about that hasn't been released for everyone yet, it's being rolled out. It got announced at the last F8 conference with Facebook, where they talk every year about all of their major changes that are going to be happening. And this particular group is called Health Support. Now, this one is going to be a little bit different because for the first time, it's going to allow people to comment within the group anonymously or to request for an admin to ask a question on behalf of the member so that the member doesn't have to identify themselves. The purpose of this will be to allow people to speak about any health concerns or issues. So if you're setting up a group that is potentially health related, then this will be a really cool little feature that you will have available to you. So there are a few little things to be aware of there when it comes to groups. Now, another change from Facebook is that it will no longer allow any one person to be a member of more than 6,000 groups. The reason they've implemented this particular change is because they're trying to get on top of and stop trolls and bots. Now, what is a troll or a bot? you'll notice that within many groups you will have bots which are computer generated profiles. They're not run by humans. Now, it's not okay to do this, which is why Facebook is cracking down on it. But these bots are set up to automatically respond to people and interact with them. You've also got trolls, which essentially are those people that love the negative world and they don't bring anything good to our groups or our pages. And they're the ones that we want to hide or we want to boot out and we don't want them to be involved. Trolls tend to like to be members of lots and lots of groups and just be a pain in the backside. So as a way to get on top of both trolls and bots, because of course Facebook wants everyone to leave the platform feeling better than when they came in, it has implemented a rule where no one person can be a member of more than 6,000 groups. So I'm sure that most of you out there are not likely to cap this number, but this is just something to be a little bit aware of as time goes on. Now, commonly asked question, I want to just address this one for a little second here. A lot of our members will ask me this question, which is, I've got people in a group. Why aren't all of my members seeing all of the posts that go up within a group? And this is a fantastic question, and I want to quickly address it. Groups are still subject to the Facebook algorithm. Remember what we've spoken about before, and I think this was one of our very first podcast episodes where we talked about what's going on in the background of Facebook. Facebook essentially is operated by an algorithm in the background that learns everything there is to learn about each and every single member of Facebook. It then uses all of the information it knows about you and me and everyone else out there to deliver us only the content or posts that it knows we are most likely to want to see, with the intention of keeping us on the Facebook platform for longer. So Facebook knows if I like to click on a lot of fluffy kittens and cute puppies, it's going to deliver me more fluffy kittens and cute puppies. And if it has a choice to deliver me a post about lipstick versus the cute puppy, it's going to go with the cute puppy if it thinks that that's going to keep me on the platform for longer. Now, this relates to personal profile posts, business page posts, and groups. There are a couple of things to keep in mind here, though. Business pages are the hardest to break through the noise. So it will favor a post from a personal profile and a group over a business page. This doesn't mean that you can get away with bad content on any of these pages. You want to be putting out great stuff on your business page and your personal page and within your group. But if you've got people in your group and they don't want to miss anything and you don't want them to miss anything, there is something that you can do. Just underneath your cover image of any group that you're a member of, there is an option there called notifications. Now, if you can't see it in the little tabs underneath the cover image, you'll see 3 little dots, and you can click on those 3 dots and it will bring up the notifications. Now, it will automatically be defaulted to show you only the highlights. So if you're a member of any group, that will be the default setting when you join the group, that Facebook will only show you the highlights, and it decides what those highlights are based on the popularity of the post. However, you can toggle this and say, show me all. So this means that anything posted within that group will be shown to me on my Facebook feed. Now, of course, it will be in order of what was most recent. So if you haven't been on Facebook for a while, you will need to scroll back to make sure that you haven't missed anything. But you are more likely to get people within your groups to see your stuff if you get them to change their notification settings. So a clever thing to do here is to take a little screenshot of how they can do it and post it as one of your main posts in your group as a key instruction for them when they first join. So hopefully that answers that question and makes that a little bit easier for you guys. But you definitely want people within your group to be seeing everything. So encourage them to change their notifications to see all instead of just the highlights. Okay, so a few little tools that you want to get in and try out and have a little bit of a look at within groups as well that can be really useful. The first I've already spoken to you about, and that is units. So if you set up a group and you go into your group settings, for most group types now, you can actually set up a tab called units, which is where you can load up learning for people. So if you've got a tutorial or you've got an education piece that you want to share with people about your product or the business, etc., then you can share this in there. You can also set units as well to tell you what people are completing. So it helps you to see what people are actually absorbing and paying attention to. Another really great little tool as well that's available now is the use of badges. Now, this is one of those kind of feel-good things. So if you get people that use the group a lot, they'll be able to see what's going on within there, and they'll also be able to see who is most active. It allows you to see who's most active, but it also makes them feel a bit special because they've got a badge that says that they're a top fan or that they're a top contributor. So there are a number of different badges in there, and you can also do little shout outs and mentions to people based on a badge that they've earned as well. So it's a cool, fun way of getting people interactive. Another really great little tool in groups is files. You can also load files up into your group. Now, this is a feature that is not available in Pages. What this means is you can load a PDF or a document up that people can download or print, and you can have them all saved in the Files tab. So if, for example, you want your team to be able to access order forms and brochures and things like that, you can have all of that loaded and available in your Files tab so that they can grab that information at any time. So that's a really great little one in there. Now, we've already talked about membership pre-approvals, but another great tool I want to talk to you about in groups that is only relatively new in the last 12 or so months is scheduling. So we've got the ability within a group now to schedule our posts in advance. So this is where I'm going to encourage you to really get active in your group, especially in the early stages. Now, if you've set the right group up to the right audience and you really interact well with it, it will eventually take on a life of its own, where people are interacting with each other and you don't need to do a whole lot to keep the conversation going. But especially in the early days, you're going to have to prompt that conversation, because in order to get that community aspect where everyone's involved and it's not just you doing all of the talking, you want to encourage it and you want to lead it. So a really great way of doing that is to schedule some posts in advance at peak times within your group. Again, use your insights to work that bit out. But that's going to help you as well to keep the conversation happening. Now, I do want to encourage you, a really big must do with your group, especially if you are in anything health related, is to create a clear set of rules. Make sure that people know what the expectations are in there, what they can and can't do. So if you don't want people to go in there and promote their own business to each other, then you need to make that clear in the rules. That way, there is no question when you warn someone or boot them out as to what rules it is that they have to abide to. So be a little bit cautious about that, but setting up a clear set of rules in advance that you can have in that group, perhaps that everyone has to quickly read before they submit their membership request, it allows you to keep a bit of control over the security within that group as well. Now, another feature I really love to use with my group, particularly when I'm growing a business, is that you can connect your business page to your group. So that's a simple tool you can set up in your settings in your group. And what this does, it allows you to post to the group as either you, the individual, or you, the business. So you can toggle between the two really easily. And this then allows you to also remind people of where your business page is and what you do, but you can jump in and you can have personal interactions as well. I love that feature. I love to be able to go into my group and post as both my business, but also me, the individual. The way that I do this differently is if I'm putting up a post that is sort of a general post, maybe that's industry related or it's learning, etc., or it's a standard post of any description in that group, I will do it as the business. But if someone comments and I want to interact with them on a personal level and respond to their comment, I'll do it as me, the individual. So they know that it's me that's interacting with them rather than any old admin on the business page. The thing I love about this too is it does give you a few features in the back end when it comes to connecting your business page and your group as well. So I do love that little feature. I think it's really super handy. One of the features you've got there is if you go live on your business page, you get a choice to cross post, which means you can automatically be going live in the group at the same time because they're connected. It's a really cool little tool as well. I do like that one. Okay. So the last security feature I do want to mention, because I know that some people get a little bit uncomfortable with this, and I do want to say it's possible. If you've been having some issues within your groups, maybe you're a little uncomfortable at the beginning and you want to build up a bit of confidence in this space, there is a setting where you can set it up that every post that goes in the group has to get pre-approved by you. This means that you will receive a notification when any member within the group puts a post up, and that notification will come through to you. You quickly check it, you hit approve, and that post will then go up on the wall of the group. But until that moment where you say, yes, it's approved, it will sit in cyberspace waiting for you to give it the tick of approval. This means that you can control what goes into your groups and the content. So if you've had issues, maybe you've got a few members in there doing the wrong thing, it gives you a little bit of that control back, so you know exactly what's going up and when. I find that that's something that is best used if you've got an issue or if you need to build a bit of confidence, if you're a little bit unsure. But once you get that confidence up, or once the issue's gone, I think it's a great thing to turn that back off, because it allows everyone to spontaneously post and interact with each other. And again, it doesn't require you to be constantly involved, because of course you've got other things to do than to have your head in your group all of the time. So that's just a little one I wanted to put out there. All right, so 3 group best practices just as we wrap up today. The first one I've already spoken about, and that is create clear rules. The worst thing you can do is tell people after whatever's happened that was against the rules, or to create a new rule down the track. Think to yourself about what the rules are you want within your group, and if you're unsure, go check out a few other groups and have a look at their rules, and you can create your own little set that makes the most sense for you. But create a clear set of rules so members know what the group is for. The rules are also about not just what you can't do, but you can create rules that are about what you can do. So think about how can you put a positive spin on it to show people how you want the group used, what it's there for, and how they can best interact to get the most out of the group themselves. Number 2 is consistently show up, engage, and create interaction. That needs to come from you. It's not a matter of create the group, invite people in, and leave. You need to be in there interacting with people, consistently showing up, interacting, engaging, and of course, set the tone. You want to create a little bit of a culture in your group, and that needs to come from you. Once you've set that up, again, it will likely take on a life of its own, but you will need to show up before that ever happens. The last thing is, and I just want to leave on this note, because this is something that sets amazing groups apart from mediocre groups that don't do anything. And this is this one thing. A group needs to give people something special that they don't get anywhere else. So there's no point setting up a group and putting all the same posts and content in there that you put on your business page. The group needs to give them something a little bit extra special, whether that's you showing up in there more than you do on your business page, whether you're providing them some extra value or some VIP stuff, extra tips or some special offers. Whatever that might look like for you, that group needs to give them something a little bit special they don't get anywhere else. So repeating yourself on your business page and in your group is unlikely to have a great effect. So think about, what can I do to create something unique in my group? And it doesn't have to be huge, it doesn't have to be complicated, but consider, how can I make this group a little bit special? How can I give them something they can't get anywhere else? So guys, we're going to leave it at that today. This has been a session all about groups and the different things that you can do with them, the different types of groups that you can create, and some of Facebook's latest changes. I hope you found this session really helpful, but I would also like to remind you that setting up your business, looking at the long term, looking at the long game, is where social media really works at its best. So should you have a personal profile, a business page, or a group? If that's a question you're asking yourself right now, I'm going to simplify it for you. All 3 of those are very valuable in your business. Your personal profile is going to be a powerful way to grow your business, but alone, it's not going to give you all of the tools, etc., that you need to really work that long game, to really grow your business long-term on social media, because there are many tools simply not available in personal profiles and groups. business pages are a very powerful way to grow your business. So I'm a really big fan of using all three of these things. Use your personal profile, use your business, and use a group or use multiple groups if you've got the time to manage them. But again, groups are a fantastic way of not only creating community, but building up loyal and raving fans and customers that are telling the world all about you. So I hope you've got lots of use out of today's session. I hope you've got a few little nuggets of gold in there that are going to be really helpful for you. I want to encourage you, get out there and try something a little bit different. And if you've got questions, if there's something that you think, hey, you know what, I had a go at that and it didn't work and I want Sam's help, I would love to hear from you. Please reach out on our Facebook page. We would love to touch base and answer your frequently asked questions, because believe me, there's no question you could throw our way that we haven't heard before. And we would love to assist you and help you out. But in the meantime, have a really amazing day, guys. God bless, and we'll see you again on the podcast next week. Bye for now.